How did we get so many views? Welcome back to the show. I'm Rob. I'm here with Mike and Joe. This is the Hogs, Hops, and Hope podcast. Hot takes, cold beers, zero credentials. I want to start off just by thanking everyone for tuning in every week and watching and listening to us. We do appreciate it. All kidding aside, I don't know who's watching. I don't know who's streaming us. I don't know who's listening, but and the people who have subscribed, we do appreciate it. So thank you very much. If I had a cap on, I would tip my cap to you. But there you go. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. So thank you very much. So there's not a whole lot. We say this. I feel like wash, rinse, repeat. There's not a whole lot going on right now in the NFL. Plain and simple. I know there was the big trade between Miami and Pittsburgh, but we don't really care about either one of those teams. So if you want to hear about that trade, then you can listen to one of their podcasts, I guess is right. I mean, that's not right. Not to be a dick, but I will say though, I'm back to my Sierra Nevada Pale Ale for this week.
So before I tell you what I had, I did go out and get the one you had last week, Rob, and I can't the name of it now. Yeah, I was intrigued, and I found it at the store here, so I enjoyed it. I agree with you. It was a good summer beer.
I'll have some of those this weekend for the holiday weekend.
Nice. Now today, I got a Virginia beer from Blue Mountain Brewery called a Hopwork Orange, and this is a orange infused IPA. So off your own. So it's pretty good. I don't know that I get a lot of orange flavor from it. Not like certainly the other one, the one you had, but yeah, it's nice citrusy hops, and I like it. It's good.
Okay, that sounds good. What you got, Joe?
I went and I found my other blueberry wheat beer. This is the Sea Dog Brewing Company out of Portland, Maine.
Okay,
and it's another blueberry wheat, and it's not bad. I think I like the other one a little bit better, to tell you the truth. But same type of thing, cloudy wheat beer with a hint of blueberries.
I like that we're making sure that when we're drinking beers that we're getting our fruit intake by drinking these certain beers. So it shows we're trying to stay healthy and everything for the long run.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I guess there's two things that I have on the table that I want to bring up. One is we can't do a real big in depth on this, but the team announced today that I guess they teased it, that next Wednesday on the 9th, they're going to announce their alternative, or I forget exactly, their third uniform. I guess it's more than three because they've got three already as is. But it's the alternative throwback uniform. And the tease showed a player silhouette with wearing a helmet, and you could see the team W on the helmet. Because some people were speculating that the throwback uniform would be one they did before, the old school with the spear, and that goes back to the 60s with the spear on the helmet. And so now people are like, well, maybe they're not going to do that since they showed a helmet that had a W on it. It's not really a whole lot to talk about because everything would just be pure speculation, and that's not really what we try to do here. And I guess we're just going to have to wait till next week. But do you guys want to throw anything in on that, or I know we talked about uniforms a little bit last week, but anything that you said, oh, I should have thrown this in Rob's face when he was talking about how much he hated the uniforms.
No, it sounds like what you're teasing is that we'll talk about alternative uniforms next week. So
yes, we will, because they'll announce it before the show, and so we'll have that to talk about. Absolutely.
Right. The only thing I want to do is be ready to be disappointed.
Well, now's a good time to start for that. And it's funny
I-
because that was in a lot of the responses to the team's post on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. It's Twitter. That
I'd like to be pleasantly surprised, but I'm just, you know, I'm going to be set on disappointed. And
avoid the Christmas rush and be disappointed now.
that's right.
Well, I can appreciate that.
I guess that's your role normally, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being a pessimist here. It's like, oh man, this is going to suck.
Why should I have all the fun though? I mean, why not? You're allowed to join in.
I did see that it sounds like they're hoping that this would be the new uniform come 2026.
I
read that somewhere.
Yeah, I saw something like that. I mean, I know I shared an article with you all earlier today. It might have come from that.
Okay.
That, I mean, it does sound. Josh Harris has always said, well, always said, he said it earlier this spring. They're not changing the name. That this is the Commander's way. This is the philosophy. Everybody in the building has bought into it. They love the name, of course, blah, blah, blah. But I could see them changing the uniforms. And if they went back to something like the uniforms from the early 2000s, I mean, basically up through 2020, I could see them doing that. Again, they're not going to change the name, but I could see them changing the uniform. But
now we are dangerously close to replacing kickers with uniforms here. Given the amount of time we've already spent on this episode and last episode and probably next episode. So,
well, because there's nothing else to talk about.
Well, okay, that's fair. I get it. I mean,
if you want, we can change the subject to what do we think the running back situation is going to be and rehash how we think that what each running back is going to contribute to the offense this year. Or we could do what I've been seeing a lot on Twitter is there's people have been throwing out their rankings for quarterbacks in the NFL and then laying into each other about how their rankings are wrong. Other than people can agree on the top 4 or who belongs in the top 4, and then everything else is a crapshoot. So we could always go down that road if you want. But
was Jaden in the top 4?
He's not in the top 4. He's not.
Nor should he be, but then it's not.
He's
worth
not in anybody's
about,
top 4. Everybody's top 4 in some order is Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, and Burrow.
Okay, sounds good.
So the only other thing then, changing the subject, nice segue, is the other thing that people have been talking about is how the big news is that there's no news on the Terry McLaurin situation. He hasn't signed a contract extension yet, but it's okay because it's not like he's missing camp right now. The rookies report over the 18th, the veterans report on the 22nd. So he's got 3 weeks before he needs to report. So there's not there. The story is that there's no story. And if you listen to other podcasts that I've listened to, or if you read things online, all people are doing is, I mean, it's a complete speculation. They're talking about the terms. They're talking about who he ranks up against, comparing him to other receivers, and how the team needs to re-sign him because he's such a valuable part of the team and the community and this and this and this. And if you think we can drag stuff out about uniforms and kickers, that is nothing compared to what people can do talking about Terry McLaurin and the contract situation that he's in with him signing. I mean, they put us to shame. Like it's not even close.
It's true. It's honestly the most annoying thing of this whole thing. It's not concerned about whether they resign McLaurin. It's in the lack of information, the way people fill in with speculation and could be this, and then the rumors of they're miles apart. All of that is getting so old. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah, that was the fun thing is people will say, well, the reports are that the team and Terry are miles apart, as you said, Mike. And that I have been listening to people and reading people write about that nonstop. And then they will follow it up with, well, it's probably just one or two little details about how they're structuring the bonuses, and is he going to get 40 million guaranteed or 50 million guaranteed? So it's probably just something little like that. You're just a walking contradiction.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, clearly this is on every fan's mind, because the other day I was walking through Bass Pro, and shout out to Marcus, as I was walking by and sporting my Commander's hat, he saw me and was like, we need to pay Terry. That was the first thing out of his mouth as I'm walking by. And I was like, yeah, we do. Let's do it. Like, and so had a nice little chat with him. And, but yeah, it's absolutely a hot topic. It's the only topic. Let's get it done.
yeah,
so we can stop talking about it.
everybody's in agreement, and that's fine. Like, that every fan wants the team to resign him. Everybody says the team needs to resign him. Everybody says the team needs to pay him. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to sign him. They're going to pay him. And everybody will have their panties in a bunch for several weeks for no reason whatsoever, other than there's nothing else to have your panties in a bunch about. So with that being said, I will pose this question to you all. And it's a very simple question. And we've done this before. As I said, we're 3 weeks out from veterans reporting to training camp. How concerned are you about the status of Terry not having an extension done at this point? On a scale of 0 being not concerned at all to 10 being I'm losing my mind and I can't sleep. Mike, where are you on the scale?
I mean, I guess I'll say 1. I'm not concerned. Not right now.
All right, Joe?
I think the last time we did this, I said I was a 2. I'm going down to a 0 now. I don't care. I'm not worried about it at all. You know what I am worried about, though?
Let us know.
The Commanders have not released tickets to their preseason for fans. I want to go. And they haven't released tickets yet.
Well, I guess. I didn't know they sold individual. I mean, I guess they do sell individual. I never thought about that, because I know when you're a season ticket holder, you are buying, you have to purchase the preseason games.
Did I say preseason? I meant training camp. I said the wrong thing.
Oh.
I said, sorry. But they release free tickets to training camp just so they know who's coming and allotting everything. And they haven't released them yet. And the rookies come to the 18th, and the veterans are coming on the 22nd, and they haven't started releasing the tickets to training camp. That's what I'm upset about.
Because, and I get that, because actually I was listening to someone talk about this on one of the podcasts, and they were saying that the Eagles only have 1 day open to the public for their training camp. Now, some teams will have more than that. I think Washington had 2 or 3 days last year. But they also said that they were building these extra bleachers, like at the end of the field, so you could get an end zone view of the practices. So I think that's coming. I think, yeah, there have been a number of teams that have announced that, but yeah, Washington has not, for whatever reason, and they may be. I don't know what they're waiting for. Maybe they'll announce it when they announce the uniforms next week. Or maybe they're package it for when Terry signs his contract. Who knows? Because
Let's go for the trifecta. All 3 of them next week.
Right.
Uniforms, Terry contract, training camp, tickets.
And then we'd be really screwed in 2 weeks, because we'd have absolutely nothing to talk about.
No, because that'd be the week before training camp starts, right? We could do all the hype.
All the hype. Talk about all the kickers they'll bring into camp.
And what happened to Noah Brown? I still want to know what happened to him.
Well, and that you're right. There's been 0 news about Noah Brown, and we won't know anything until training camp. And I'm more concerned about that than I am Terry's contract.
I thought, wasn't there an update of, Joe, you had mentioned before there was, when we first talked about it, he had some event, public event that he was supposed to be at, and people saw him there and said he looked fine and everything seemed
Oh,
okay.
I didn't even see that update. You're right. I did mention that.
I thought I saw
But
something where people saw him there and he seemed fine.
Yeah, that Joe. Yeah, Joe, you mentioned that a couple weeks ago.
I did. I forgot to follow up on that.
But if he's got, to use a hockey term, a lower body injury, uh, he could be walking around and you could not know how serious the injury is unless he's, if he's
Could be.
on crutches or he's got a boot on or a brace on or something like that. You may not know. So of course, if it's not serious, he probably wouldn't have any of those things. And if it was something serious, I'd hope that he would have some support. But who knows? So
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to wait the 3 weeks until training camp to see what they say.
Oh, wait, there's another thing happening. DC Council's voting on the 15th, right?
Well, but is that for the budget? Because remember, we talked about this before. They took out I guess the proposal for the stadium and everything, that they separated that from their general budget vote or whatever. Like originally it was all going to be one vote tied in together on the 15th, but they I think it was Stu Mendelson, maybe. I shouldn't throw out names because I don't know all the DC council members, but someone got it, so they separated it out, and that's what all the stink came up when we were talking about. Was that last week or the week before?
That was last week, yeah.
Week. And whether or not they would, the vote for the stadium proposal for that aspect of the DC budget wasn't going to happen on July 15th because they wanted to be able to review it more, because they didn't have enough time to review the actual budget because they got that late from the mayor. And so that pushes everything back for the city council, and they don't want to just rush in and vote just to vote. I'm probably doing a very bad synopsis of it.
Yeah, you are, but that's okay.
Yeah, what else is new though?
I'm just so excited. There's stuff happening, just not right now.
I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, it's not gonna. I'm looking to see if anything. I don't have any real.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not even going to worry about that, but I did just see one headline that said they may not vote until September, which is obviously well past the deadline of July 15th. So I don't know.
Well,
Let
the
whole thing play.
deadlines are. So the team's big thing is they want a stadium all done and built, and I guess some of the stuff around it, some of the area around it built up to be ready to play in 2030. And
yeah, I'm saying the deadline the team had given for this deal, it had to be approved by July 15th. So the Commanders can go look somewhere else if DC hasn't approved it by July 15th, I believe. And now they're saying it's not going to, could be September. Again, I don't know. I don't think it's going to change anything. I think, they'll keep trying to make it happen after the 15th.
right. And
So,
yeah, I know I'm the one who said originally that it wasn't going to happen, because this is the type of thing that I figured would happen, is something stupid of delaying a vote or whatever. It's going to be like Terry's contract situation. There's going to be no news, so people are going to create a story so they have something to talk about. Rather than talking about important things like kickers and uniforms, they're going to create a story. um,
Hey, we're missing one more hot topic to talk about that has nothing to do with us, right?
what do you got?
We're disgruntled, disgruntled defensive ends that want to be traded. Well, actually, they don't want to be traded. They want their contracts done. You got TJ Watt up in Pittsburgh and Hendrickson, I think,
Well,
over in the Bengals.
there's a real simple solution to all of this. Quite honestly,
I'm just trying to stir up trouble, man.
Washington fans, going back to before the draft, what did a vast majority of Washington fans say the team needed before the draft?
Defensive end.
A pass rushing defensive end.
Yeah.
Right. And did they draft that person? No. So the simple solution is trade Terry for TJ Watt.
Yeah. That's right.
Then we don't have to talk about Terry's contract situation, and you have your pass rushing defensive end.
Yep.
Well,
You're
I don't
right.
like this at all. That's no. What are you saying?
This is why I should be a GM.
By the way,
Cut through the red tape.
by the way, to my point earlier about people just filling in the blanks with speculation because they have nothing to actually report on, trading Terry has been floated. I don't know if it was for TJ Watt, but I saw something about trading him. I'm like, get the hell out of here.
Well, that's people will throw out potential trade partners or trade situations where they could trade him to team X for this player and this draft pick and this type of thing. And this is what they could expect to get in return if they were to trade him, being the fact that he's in his, he's turning 30, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's, because you have to anticipate, well, what if they can't sign him? What if for some reason they can't sign him? What if it's Kirk Cousins all over again?
But he still has a year left on his contract, right?
Yes.
So he's still going to, I assume he's still going to play for us. I don't think he's going to sit out a year and not get paid.
Well, that's the thing. If he sits out a year, if he doesn't play at all, if I remember how NFL contracts work, he doesn't get credit and he's still under contract for another year. So he wouldn't do that. We'd have to start playing at some point to get it qualified as the year. And then, yes, he could not sign. He could become a free agent unless they tag him, all that fun, wonderful stuff. And now we're really going deep in the woods for that. And you want to talk about some speculation? Yeah. Okay. They're going to have to tag him because he's not going to sign a new contract because they're not giving it to him. And that would really be the Cousins situation all over again.
Oh, yeah, let's not do that. We got to sign Terry.
Because then the next thing you know, Terry's going to be in Atlanta and they're going to sign him to a big contract and then he's going to be a backup. So, I mean, like, none of us really wants that. Real happy for Kirk. I read a story that Kirk Cousins has made more money like in the last 8 years than any other NFL player.
Good for him.
Yeah, he has worked the system to his advantage, and that's great for him. Very happy for him and his family.
Speaking of the system, totally unrelated to the Commanders, did everybody remember to celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day?
I did read about that.
I think I missed this one. Tell me about it. What is this?
Oh, you got to look it up. Bobby Bonilla, who has not played for the Mets since 2001, I believe. He gets paid about $1.2 million every July 1st. It started in 2010 and goes through 2035. That was to buy him out of the remaining $6 million, $5.9 million of his contract when the Mets released him. Now you can do the math on that, but 1.2 million, 25 years.
Because it was for like 8% interest or something like that.
Yes. Now here's the reason. It sounds crazy, right? At the time, the owners of the Mets, the Wilpon family, they were making great returns on their investment. So to defer it for 10 years and pay him the 8% interest, all that, this 1.2 million, it was going to let them keep that money. They'd invest it. They'd make a shit ton of money. Their investments were with a guy named Bernie Madoff. You can,
Yeah.
you can figure it out from there. But yep, Bobby
So,
Bonilla.
so,
Wow.
so here it
That's
is.
going until 2035.
Yes, he gets $1,193,248.20 from the Mets, and will every July 1st until 2035.
That's right.
He makes more than some of the current young stars make in any given year.
Has not played baseball in 24 or 5 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, this was a buyout in the year 2000.
2000. Okay, yeah.
But the great thing is, this is the great thing about Bobby Bonilla. He has a second deferred contract with the Mets and the Orioles that pays him $500,000 a year for 25 years, and that began in 2004. But he's not the only one that has deals like this. Brett Saberhagen, who played for the Mets, he got to start with the Royals. He won a couple Cy Youngs. He receives $250,000 a year from the Mets for 25 years. That began in 2004, and that was the inspiration for Bobby's deal. Max Scherzer is going to receive $105 million total from the Nationals. That'll be paid out through 2028. He hasn't pitched for the Nationals for a couple of years. And Chris Davis, who played for the Orioles, he collects $59 million in deferred payments during a 15-year stretch that started last year and continues through 2037. He received $9.16 million last year and will receive that this year. Then he'll collect $3.5 million from 2026 to 2032, and then $1.4 million a year from 2033 to 2037. So, yes, Bobby Bonilla Day was yesterday. It's July 1st, and that is, and the Mets embrace this. It is a day they celebrate. It is not something they hide from. Obviously, different owners nowadays, but yes, they're very much into that. So, hey, whatever works, right? I mean, he's it's like winning the lottery. You just get that check every year. Just kind of keeps rolling in.
Right.
Maybe it's not worth as much each year, which is why if you win the lottery and you take it over payments, you don't actually receive the exact same amount every year. The payments get increased every year to try and match up with inflation. In case you didn't know that.
I actually did know that. We talked about that in the class I took, but I still think Bobby's what has he gotten to date? 12 million? He's 10 years in, or is he 15 years into this? 18 million?
Well, it started in 2000.
Well, I think
the payment started in 2011.
Yeah.
So 14 years, 15 years.
Yeah. I think he's doing all right, even with the length of it. He's more than made up for the 5.9 million. He was
so that's all he was really owed was 5.9 million, and they decided to do this.
Well, 5.9 million in 2000. That's a big difference between 5.9 million now. I mean, that's 25 years ago. That was a bigger,
Yeah, but it's still 8% interest guaranteed, because again, they thought they were making really good returns.
Yeah, they thought they were making bank off of Madoff. So
yeah, didn't work out.
Except for Bobby.
Right. It's true.
All right. Well, any other, like we talk about the Commanders here. That's our bread and butter. But we have talked about the caps before, and we'll throw out little nuggets here and there if we think it's interesting, or if you all who are watching and listening, if you have us an idea or a topic you want us to address, let us know. Put a comment, and we'll we'll do our best to address that, give you our thoughts and opinions, and somehow work kickers into the conversation.
And uniforms.
And uniforms. Because that's all that really matters is what uniform is the kicker wearing as opposed to everybody else. I think kickers should have their own uniform, right? I mean, can't hit a kicker, so.
Like a goalie in soccer.
Yes, exactly. Yes, there you go.
We should propose this.
There you go. We should write the league. On that note, we should probably wrap this up.
Yes, we.
You guys got anything you want to end with?
No, nothing.
No.
All right. So we told you at the beginning of the show, next week, since the team is announcing the new uniform or the throwback uniform, whatever, we will be talking about that next week. We'll probably mention Terry as well, just to give you an idea, just because, and we'll see what else happens. But thanks as always for tuning in. We appreciate you watching, listening. We appreciate all the views, the subscriptions, the comments, the likes, all that. We do appreciate it. It does feed our fragile egos. And until next week, thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
So yeah.